Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back to That's Just My Opinion. We have a new setup now. Yay! Alright, so we are continuing on with Stormlight Archives, Rhythm of War. We are doing part 4 and 5 right now, back to back, because I finished it. Yeah, I couldn't stop. It was very, very good. So, with part 4, we'll start. I'm going to keep this a little bit split up by the parts, but it's kind of all going to merge together. But for part 4, we're going to start with our Shadesmar crew. We have Adolin and Shallan in Lasting Integrity, the Honor-Spren Stronghold. And Adolin is prepping for his trial, which is going to be a trial by witness with the help of this Inkspren, who is the Inkspren ambassador to the Honor-Spren. And honestly, it seems like all of the higher Spren don't get along with each other, because High Spren and Honor Spren don't get along, Inkspren don't get along with any of them, so yeah, not great. He's trying, but basically this Spren who's coaching him is like, yeah, you're gonna lose, you're screwed, and they are actually trying him for the Recreants, so not good. While this is also going on, Shallan is looking for this guy that Mraize told her to find, who is in Lasting Integrity, that he is the leader of the Sons of Honor, and she's trying to find him, and she's not having any luck with that. And yeah, it's not working out. And she's just like, God, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And she's asked the Honor-Spren, who are the humans here? And they're like, oh, there's like 16 humans, and she's seen all 16, and she's just like, he's not here. Well, you'll also find out that Adolin is waiting for his trial to start for the High Judge to return. So who is this High Judge? Well, turns out it's also the person that Shallan is looking for. And yeah, it's Kalek, one of the heralds. Yep, this herald has been hiding out in Shadesmar, and yeah, he's a little crazy like all of them, but he definitely seems to be, I'd say, more like Ash, where he's not fully crazy. He just seems to be really indecisive, is his thing. So he shows up, they get the trial going, and it's 3 days where Adolin, the first day, they present against him. They present, I think 3 witnesses. Then day 2, Adolin gets to defend himself. And then day 3, they bring out a final witness. And this is the best option Adolin has for this trial, and it's still not good. So, first day goes. I don't remember who the first witness is, but yeah, it doesn't go well. The second witness who comes out is that Inkspren, and Adolin feels a bit betrayal. But the Inkspren are kind of odd, but she says, she was there during the Recreant, she saw all of the horrible things that happened to all the Spren. They became Deadeyes. Not good. Then the final Spren who's brought out to go against Adolin and testify against him is Nodum. Yeah, that's another oof moment for Adolin, because he just saved Nodum. He just saved Nodum from being killed by those humans, and Nodum gets up there on the stand, and Adolin knows that he's like, they offered him back into Lasting Integrity, that they would lift his exile if he would testify against Adolin. And it looks like and you can see Nodum's like getting really like uncomfortable, and he's just like, oh, and then he pulls, honor is not dead so long as he lives in the hearts of men. And that kind of causes the whole crowd to blow up, that there is a split, there is factions within the Honor-Spren, that some are more, maybe we should give humans another chance, but a lot of the older Honor-Spren are like, not a chance in hell, we are not doing that again. So that kind of blows up day 1. It's not great for Adolin. Day 2, he tries to talk to Kalek, but Kalek's just like, well, kid, you're kind of screwed, sorry. Adolin's day 2 doesn't go well, because, yeah, he just keeps getting ramrodded by these Honor-Spren, and just, ugh. The big thing with this is definitely on the 3rd day. So first off, Shallan tries to go and assassinate Kalek, because that's what she was sent there to do, was to kill him. And Formless takes over. I was a little disappointed on what happens with Formless, because basically it's Shallan just pretending to be Formless, and then There's actually a really great emotional scene where she and Vale end up merging. Shallan has regained her memories from the past, or some of her past, and she and Vale fuse back into a single person. She also talks to Kalek, and yeah, there's that. So they get there for the trial, and this old honorsman, he's kind of one of their leaders, is like, oh, the judge is indisposed because your wife tried to coerce him. So yeah, this is basically kangaroo court. They're just rigging everything against Adolin. So they go and they bring up their final witness, the pinnacle witness for them. Who is it going to be? It's Maya. They drag Maya up on the stand, and Adolin is like, oh, that is a low blow. You guys, wow, really? And this judge is just using Maya as a puppet and just like, I will speak for her. And this whole time, Maya's just getting more and more agitated. She's just getting angrier, and she starts screaming, and Adolin's like, just stop, just get her out of here. Get her out. And there's even Spren in the honorsmen in the audience who are like, ooh, this is not cool. But then Maya speaks and basically tells off this old honorsman of, you cannot have my sacrifice. You can't have our sacrifices. And it's this great, absolutely fantastic scene where she does speak, and you find out a little bit more, and her bond with Adolin is growing stronger, and you find out the truth that the Recreants was a choice. It wasn't just humans choosing to break their oaths and destroying their Spren. It was a choice between the Spren and their Radiants, that they chose to break their oaths, to separate. They didn't know it would cause Deadeyes. That was an unforeseen consequence of the Recreants. So very, very fascinating. Also with this, we do get confirmed that Pattern is not Shallan's first Spren, that we do meet that dead-eyed Spren from earlier, the dead-eyed Cryptic, who was her first Spren. That was the one that she broke her oaths to. So be kind of curious what happens with that, because I also wonder, when Shallan broke her oaths as a kid, that obviously made her Spren a Deadeye. But what happened to her blade? Because she had a blade, because this was the Spren that she had when she killed her mother. So I'm like, where did that shard go? Did that Spren drop as a shard blade, or what happened with that? Very, very interested to see how that goes in the future. There's been some interesting stuff with Sanderson. I watched a quick little snippet of a interview with him where he was talking about with Shallan, since we now have this confirmed that she had another Spren before Pattern, that he said that Shallan's kind of an interesting case as far as Radiants go, because she's kind of taking 1.1 step forward and 1 step back, because she has sworn oaths, she's broken oaths, and now she's re-swearing oaths. So she's in kind of a weird place as far as Radiants go. After Maya speaks, that basically throws out the entire trial, and Adolin is let go, because obviously this just rocked the foundations of everything, and even that the Spren understood about the Recreants, it changed it. This changes everything. So yeah, they basically let Adolin go. He doesn't go, they haven't gone back home to Urithiru yet. The very, very last section in this is Shallan calling up Mraize and basically telling him, screw off, I am done with you, I am done with the Ghostbloods, peace. And he tries to tempt her in with some more secrets. They'll be like, but Shallan, here, you want some stuff? You want some more information? And she's like, nah, screw you, I've got Kalek now. Kalek knows just as much as you do. Peace. So that was very satisfying to see her finally kick Mraize to the curb. And yeah, that was nice. Jumping back over to the Urithiru side of things is Navani is probably my favorite part of this, is because she's working as a scholar for Raboniel with light. In particular, experimenting with Void Light and Stormlight, because Raboniel believes that if you were to combine Stormlight and Void Light, they would annihilate each other. Well, no. You actually can combine them. This is what is the rhythm of war. This is where it's called Warlight, because it is the blending of Odium, and because the thing you learn in this is that the 3 shards that are existing on Roshar, or did exist, Honor, Cultivation, and now Odium, they have their own tones, the pure tones of Roshar. It's the music of Roshar. And that if you play those tones together and you get them to harmonize, the lights will blend. So Raboniel and Navani end up figuring it out, and they are able to blend Honor's light and Odium's light to create this new Stormlight Void Light hybrid, which you also learn is critical because the sibling is a spren of both Honor and Cultivation, and the sibling was able to create their own light that was a blend of Life Light, which is Cultivation's light, and Honor's light to create what they call Tower Light, which is specifically Urithiru's light. Because that's what this whole light thing that's really interesting is that Lift, our girl who can eat and generate Stormlight, she's not generating Stormlight. She's generating Life Light. So she might be our little Life Light battery for the foreseeable future. So that's kind of interesting. So once Navani figures out how to combine the 2 lights together to create this hybrid, well, we still need to figure out and when she makes this light, it doesn't look like the light of the gem that they're this like weird, it looked like a Void Light gem, but it was like warping the air around it, and it blew up and killed some of her scholars. So Navani thinks that whatever that is the anti-Void Light. So she starts working on it, trying to come up with this anti-Void Light, and she does. She does successfully figure it out and makes it, and Raboniel is like, she makes this anti-Void Light, and when Raboniel picks it up, she just screams and is like, oh my god, this is wrong, because I mean, she's a creature of Void Light. Raboniel is filled with Void Light, so when she touches this anti-Void Light, she's just like, oh shit. So yeah, very interesting with that. And so that she's like, sweet, we've got this anti-Void Light. And of course it's with the idea that to kill fused with it, and of course Raboniel knows that's what Navani's doing. And we get this amazingly emotional scene where Raboniel's daughter is one of the fused that has gone crazy. And Raboniel ends up using this anti-Void Light on this special knife that they use to kill the Heralds. And she kills her daughter, and it's this really emotional scene that it was fantastic. But the downside with this, with figuring out anti-Void Light, is of course Raboniel figures out anti-Stormlight. So yeah, and anti-Stormlight, the implication with that is to kill Spren. And truly kill them, not just rip them apart and have them reform in the cognitive realm. No, to actually kill the Spren to make it so they can't form new radiant bonds. So yeah, that's not good. And so Kaladin is actually down for the count for a lot of part 4. He is trapped in a literal hellscape. I'm pretty sure it was Braze was where he was, that Odium locks him in while he's in a coma because he got really hurt at the end of part 4. And he's, you know, stuck there and there's a point where Wit shows up, because of course Wit shows up, and Wit tells him a story which helps him gain the will to fight and keep going. And we also get some really cool stuff with David and Rlain as point of view characters for this, so that's really cool. We're getting them again. They're just trying to stay alive in the tower, come up with a way to get the radiance out, and you know, save everybody, while Venli is still doing her thing. You know, she's kind of working with Rlain, because she's like, okay, I guess I'll help you guys to escape. Kinda. It's Venli, I don't really like her, if I'm being honest. So Kaladin ends up coming out of his coma. They're going to put in a plan where Kaladin is going to be a distraction. He's going to pull off the pursuer, and they're going, because they found the last node, which they suspect that Rivoniel actually knew where the last node was for a really long time, but this is it. This is the final countdown, and of course, who else shows up at this point but frickin' Moash, because of course Moash shows up because he's a pain in my ass. So Moash also really wants to kill Navani because he wants to basically piss off Dalinar and get Dalinar to do something stupid and reckless, and how better to do that by killing the woman he loves. So Navani's like, I gotta get away out of here. And so when all of this is going down, Venli is going to try to escape with the singers. Kaladin starts fighting with the pursuer, and while that's going on, Teft and Lift are going to break in, use Lift to wake up the Radiants, and then get the hell out of Dodge. Well, Moash was waiting for them, and it's a very sad scene because Teft ends up dying. Moash kills his friend Fenderana with the knife that she dies, and then Moash kills Teft, and it is incredibly sad. I honestly choked up when Teft died, and then of course, because Moash wants to break Kaladin, he drops Teft's body in front of Kaladin, and Kaladin breaks, and he is just sitting there in like a state of shock holding Teft, and the pursuer is like, let me kill him, and Moash is like, no, if you try to fight him right now, he'll come out of this. You need to let him just stew on this. But then Moash goes to go try to kill Navani. I'm gonna stick with the Kaladin thing first, then we'll jump back over to Navani. So the pursuer ends up getting fed up, waiting, like he wants to kill Kaladin because he wants his revenge, and Kaladin has basically destroyed the pursuer's reputation at this point, so he kind of needs this. So the pursuer attacks Kaladin. Kaladin snaps out of it, and it is game on, buddy. And so he is attacking the pursuer. The pursuer's like, oh, I done fucked up, and Kaladin ends up killing the pursuer. It just devolves into all-out chaos in Urithiru. That humans are rising up fighting against singers. It's everything. Shit has hit the fan, and one of us, I can't remember who, but somebody grabs Lirin, because that was the backup plan. If breaking Teft didn't work, that they were gonna grab Lirin. So they grab Lirin, and I think it's a heavenly one, because then they just like take off and start flying, and Kaladin goes after them, tries to catch them. They end up on the top of Urithiru. The heavenly one is just like, oh fuck, and yeets Lirin off the edge of Urithiru, and Kaladin breaks anew because he can't save his father, and he jumps into this, because there's a high storm going on, and he just jumps into the storm. So as he is falling, Dalinar, this is where our boy Dalinar comes in pretty clutch with the Stormfather, because he sees, he knows that Kaladin is there, that Kaladin is dying, that Kaladin is falling. The Stormfather tells him, like, let him go, let him, this is his choice, this is his end, let him go. But Dalinar's like, no, just give him time, he'll be okay, because the Stormfather, he doesn't stop time, but he slows time down to the point where it basically is stopped when he refills Stormlight. It's like the convergence of realms when he refills like gems. So in that moment of time, and it also, Dalinar throws Kaladin into a vision like what he used to get from the Stormfather, but it's a vision of Tien, of the day that Tien died, and it is, oh my god, going from Teft's death into this scene was so moving and heartbreaking and wonderful, because it is when Tien died, and you see Tien is so brave with the other boys. Like, he knew that they weren't going to make it out, but he still is brave for them, and Kaladin talks to him, and they actually have a conversation with each other, and it helps Kaladin let go of his guilt over what happened with Tien and everything. And so when he comes out of the storm, he's falling, and Scylla's next to him, and Scylla's like, I'm sorry, I don't remember the words, I don't know the words. And Kaladin just is able to like grab onto her and hold her and tell her, it's okay, I know the words. And it is, he swears the fourth ideal. He knows that he will protect those that he can, but he can't save everybody. Our boy finally made it to the fourth ideal, and he gets his armor, which is really cool because at least for the Windrunners, that their armor is actually made out of wind spren, which kind of makes sense because the honor spren talk about how they're kind of closely related to the wind spren, that they're like, the wind spren are kind of like their little cousins in a way. So he gets his armor, he saves Lirin, and you also get in one of the interludes, part 4, Hasina talks to Lirin and basically says, Kaladin's my son too, and you need to get over yourself, Lirin. I will love you, but get over yourself. And you see that Lirin has the sash glyph painted on his head because people were doing that as kind of a form of defiance against the Fused. And he looks at Kaladin. Kaladin's like, what do you have? And he's just like, everyone else was doing it, so I did it too. Yeah. It's sweet. But then you also, Kaladin, his own sash brands, they flake away. They finally heal. Oh, it's so good feels, you guys. And then he gets to fly back and he starts getting ready to kick ass in Irithyru. So, back over to Navani is, Raboniel has destroyed the final node gets destroyed, the shield around the sibling goes down. Navani ends up getting stabbed by Moat. Well, she ends up betraying, Raboniel's down there, she ends up tricking Raboniel, and Raboniel's like, you tricked me? She's like, yeah, sorry bitch, but I was gonna. Moash ends up stabbing her, so Navani's like bleeding out. She's running towards the crystal pillar. Raboniel, who's kind of down and out for the count because Navani stabbed her with that anti-void light knife. There was still a little bit of that anti-void light in there. And Raboniel is dying, but she's like clawing at Moash, trying to stop Moash from getting to Navani. Navani gets to the pillar room. She grabs onto the pillar, is talking to the sibling. The sibling is basically dead, like very, very weakly there. And Navani's like, come on, you know, bond with me, and we can both survive. And the sibling's like, no, you're not worthy. And Navani has basically a huge imposter complex through this, and basically this is a point where she tells the sibling, all right, fine, even if I'm not worthy, that's the point, is to, sorry about that, is to be better, is to become better, and to work for compromise, because the sibling's still like, you know, you capture Spren. She's like, help me understand then, help me find a better way, bond with me. And they do, they end up bonding, and it's great. So now we've got our power bondsmith couple of Navani and Dalinar. And Navani, when she bonds with the sibling, she ends up reconnecting the sibling's attachment to the tones of Roshar, so the sibling is able to generate tower light again. Basically, they get all of Irithyru working back up to full capacity. It's great. And when that happens, there is this intense light that comes out, and Moash is blinded. He just runs, because he also feels, when he's exposed to this light, he feels all the guilt and the pain and everything, and he is just like, take my pain, because yeah, he don't want to feel it. He ends up hightailing it out of there, and he runs away. His ending thing is that he is blinded now permanently because of that light. So no amount of storm light or void light will heal his eyes. So yeah, sorry, I hate him. So yeah, that is where things at Irithyru kind of end. Bouncing back over to Dalinar. Dalinar is desperate to learn about his bondsmithing abilities. He needs to know what he's doing. And so he comes up with a plan to go talk to Ishar, he's the bondsmith herald, more or less. He's also crazy god king of somewhere. So they go to try to talk to him. While he's talking to him, he's like, Ishar's like, you are the champion of Odium. I am honor reborn. I will defeat you. And Dalinar's like, dude, I need your help. And through this, Ishar has like a moment of clarity where he's like, oh yeah, dude, I'll help you, but you like gotta do these things. And Dalinar's like, okay, and then Ishar uses a perpendicularity and fucks off. This is where we get into a bit of a, oh my god, the implications of this are terrifying, what the hell is going on, horror moment. Is Dalinar and his guys go to check out Ishar's camp, and they go into one of the tents and they see these bodies, these like some really deformed, like weird things, and then they come to realize from the notes that they find that Ishar is trying to bring Spren into the physical realm from the cognitive realm, like they're actual bodies, but some of them aren't stable in their world and they collapse on each other like Cryptix and Ash Spren and Mist Spren, but Honor Spren kind of do, because they are the most human in their structure in the cognitive realm. So that's terrifying. I don't know what the implications of that are going to be, but oh boy, Ishar is crazy, but they gotta do it. And then the Dalinar makes a deal with Odium that in 10 days time they will have their Battle of Champions. That's the other thing that happens. Odium makes the deal saying, you know, all right, let's do this, 10 days, your champion versus mine. Let's go. So we've got, next book, we've got 10 days before the end of everything. So, then after that, the last big thing, the big kicker of this book is that it's a Taravangian thing. So Taravangian is becoming stupider and stupider throughout this book. He's having less intelligent days and less. He's just on a downhill slide. Well, he tries to trick Odium into coming for him while Seth is nearby. It ends up happening. Odium is able to get Sword Nimi away from Seth while he's pulled into the realm where Odium is. Taravangian notices that Odium is not looking too hot, and that's because he hasn't been keeping his word to Dalinar about this trial of champions. It seems like if the shards break their oaths, or even try to like fudge the line of their oaths, that it starts like breaking their brains. So Taravangian kills Odium. He doesn't kill Odium, he kills Rise, the vessel that was holding the shard that is Odium. And when the vessel breaks and the shard is released, Taravangian sees it and he's just enthralled by what the power is, and the power chooses Taravangian to become his new vessel. And he becomes Odium. Taravangian is now Odium, and Cultivation pops up and she's just like, hi, yeah, I've been playing the long game. And I'm like, oh no. And Taravangian's just like, oh, you needed someone who could tempt the power. That's why she split him between rational and emotion, because that's what the power of Odium is. It's emotion. And so he's just like, that was clever of you, Cultivation, but you miscalculated. I'm like, yeah, because now we've got freaking Taravangian as Odium. Not good! Because it seems like Rise, the former Odium, was like kind of going a little crazy. He was also thousands and thousands of years old, where Odium now, Todium as I have seen him called on the Reddit, is fresh. He is brand new to this power and he is ready to kick some ass. So this is terrifying. I think Cultivation miscalculated, so not good. And then our epilogue with Wit, where Wit does his little speech like he always does at the end of these books, is really good. It's about how, like, when you go to a magic show, you know you're being tricked, but that still makes it enjoyable. And there's it's a great speech. But then Wit ends up talking with Odium. He thinks it's still Rise, but then Taravangian makes a little slip and Wit's like, wait, hold up. And Taravangian's like, hold on, I know I can't hurt you, but Wit seems to keep his consciousness part of his consciousness and memories in other places, because I don't know what he is, but he can't hold it all in his own brain. And Taravangian's like, well, I'm pretty sure this won't hurt you, so... And then it resets, and Wit goes back through his little speech again, talks to Odium again, and thinks everything is going according to plan. This is not good! Even though everything with our heroes, I think, has ended on a very positive note. Also, they all think Taravangian is dead. That this all ended on a really positive note for our heroes, that they think, you know, they've got the champion trial in 10 days, but now they are going up against a brand new Odium. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm very, 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 very nervous. So, as far as theories go for what's going to happen, obviously the Trial of Champions is going to take place in 10 days' time. We will see who that is. I still don't think Dalinar keeps like implying that he's going to do it himself, but I think he's going to end up picking a different champion. I've seen theories that it might be Telenelon because he's the greatest fighter of the Heralds, but I don't know how it's going to work with him being all cookie dukes. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how that goes down. The other one I still think could be possible is Adolin, because there's a lot of stuff in this book about Adolin not feeling like he has a place anymore, that he doesn't know, you know, where does he belong in this world of literal demigods. What is a pretty boy who's good with a sword good for? I'm like, well, maybe for a duel. So I still think it could possibly be Adolin is Dalinar's choice of champion, but we'll wait and see. There's also been some really interesting theories kicking around about Todium and who he's going to pick for his champion, because we do meet this new crazy fuse called L of no title, who I don't know what his thing is, but he kills the pursuer at the end and kills him with the anti-storm or anti-void light. So he could possibly be Odium's champion, but I've also heard some interesting theories kicking around that either Todium might pull a draw, make it so that neither of them wins, so that might sneak him out of the agreement that Rise made, because it seems like what all the deals Rise made are still applied to Todium, that he still has to hold true to all of that. So he might either push for some sort of a draw, so because they didn't set any conditions on a draw, so maybe Odium will try to do something with that. Or the other theory I've seen is that he's going to pick someone that Dalinar couldn't kill. Popular theory is that it'll be little Gavinor, seeing as Dalinar is trying to be a good grandfather to little Gavinor, and Odium, especially now that he's Taravangian, I could see him pulling some, like, don't you want to help? If you help me, it'll end the war, it'll save your family. I don't know, but it's a potential. So, yeah, Stormlight, Rhythm of War was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It's like a 4.5 to 5. I will say the middle part drags a little bit, part 3, but hot damn, Sanderson knocked it out of the park. It's amazing. I love it. And I am so sad that we're gonna have to wait a couple more years before we get the next book, because, oh, I want to know how this ends. Because also, if you guys haven't heard, Sanderson has confirmed he's going to do something similar with Stormlight that he did with Mistborn. It's going to be a total of 10 books is what he's planning. And after the first 5, it's going to be a new era. So, the next book is gonna be the end for the current era and everybody, so I'm so excited, but it's gonna be a while. So yeah, that's just my opinion. If you disagree with me, that's totally cool. If you'd like to see me take a crack at something in particular in the future, leave your comments down below, and I will talk to you guys in a little while.